This is lesson 4.5, Input and Calculations. In this lesson, programs could talk to users. Programs will use what the user types to make decisions and calculations. This is where programs start to feel real. Let's have a look at the Do It Now. Question number 1, true or false? Input gets data from the user. Question number 2, print shows data to the user. Question number 3, input always returns a number. Question number 4, variables can store input values. And question number 5, programs can use input in calculations. Get your answers ready and we'll go through them shortly. Okay, answers. Question number 1 is true. Question number 2 is true. Question number 3 is false. Question number 4 is true. And question number 5 is true. Let's have a look at the objectives today. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to combine input with calculations, convert input into numbers, and predict program output accurately. What are input and calculations? So input gives data to a program. Calculations process that data, and output shows the result. This is the basic structure of almost every useful program. Let's have a look at some examples. Example number 1. We use int here because input gives us text. Python essentially defers to strings as inputs unless you tell it otherwise. And in this case, we're using integer or int. So Python knows we're expecting a whole number. Int converts text into a whole number so Python can do maths with it. Open Create with Code and enter this program. Practice example number 2. Enter this into Create with Code. The calculation only works because age has been converted to a number before we add 1 to it. And then the output of the program next year you will be allows this calculation to be outputted. But if we didn't cast age into an integer, this wouldn't work. Let's have a look at example number 3. Enter this into Create with Code. Float is used for decimal numbers. This is common for money. So when we take items as an integer and price as a float, we calculate total cost, which is items multiplied by price, and print out the total cost. And the total cost is likely to be a float value too. Pause the video. Make sure you've entered all 3 programs as practice into Create with Code. Okay, let's have a look at the main program. The main program is a little more complex. We've got 2 integer values as number of tickets for adults and children. We have the prices of the adult ticket, which is £8.50, and the price of the child ticket, which is £4.50. On line number 7, the adult total is calculated by taking the number of adult tickets and multiplying them by the price of the adult ticket. And then the child total is taking the child number of tickets and multiplying it by the price of the child, which is £4.50. We create the total by adding the adult and the child total together and then output the total. And here we have multiple variables that have needed to be created to then be assigned to values throughout the program. Let's code. Okay, the cinema ticket calculator. So we take the adult tickets equals integer or whole number, and we use the input and number of adult tickets. And we always have two brackets on the end. Because we've opened two, we always close two. And we're going to do the same for child tickets. Child underscore tickets equals int input number of child tickets, colon, space, and two brackets at the end. We need to look at the price of adult tickets, which equals £8.50, and we'll look at changing these later and see what happens to the program. Price of the child tickets, we all make mistakes. Price child equals £4.50, and that's a float value. And then we are going to do some calculations. So we're going to take the adult total, which equals adult tickets multiplied by price underscore adult. And then we take the child total variable and we look at child tickets and we multiply this by price of the child. We create a total by just adding these together. Total equals adult total add child total, and then we're going to do an output where we go total to pay and then a comma, and we output the total. Let's see what happens when we run it. Okay, number of adult tickets. Let's say we want 2 adults and 2 children, your typical family. Oh, we've got an error. Adults tickets. Okay, that's quite a good thing. Because this program is a little bit more complex, it's probably a good thing that I've made a mistake here. So we've got adults tickets, and up here I've got adult tickets, so they don't match. And like I said, we all make mistakes, and it's absolutely fine to make mistakes because we always learn from them. So let's run it again and see what happens. Hopefully I've made no more mistakes. Number of adult tickets 2, number of child tickets 2. And my total to pay is £26 or 26.0. It doesn't quite look like a monetary value. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to change a couple of the values so they are slightly different. So here I'm going to change this to £8.75 because I think adults pay a little bit more than that. And I'm going to change a child ticket to £5.25. And actually I'm going to change this to £5.50. And I'm going to change the output to thank you, total to pay for your tickets is, and then rather than a colon like I've done in previous programs, I'm just going to put a pound sign. And I'm also going to do a welcome to print output, welcome to the cinema, just to make it a little bit more realistic. And you can code with me and do this too. Okay, let's see what happens when I run it. Okay, so I've changed a few values. We should get a more accurate program by doing this. So it says welcome to the cinema, which is a nice little welcome. Number of adult tickets is 2. And you remember before it said £26. Number of child tickets is 2. Thank you. The total to pay for your tickets is £28.5 or £28.50. Okay, so I'm going to go in again. I'm just going to remove this, X this out. I'm just going to pop this down here just to see what I get. I should get an error coming back. So the price, it's going to run through from top to bottom like it normally does. I'm going to say 2 and 2 again. And you see here I've got a name error, the price of the child. So price of the adult is there, but price of child isn't there. And when it's trying to use it in its calculation, the price of the child here, it can't find the actual price because the price is further down in the sequence of the program. So let's remove this, cut it out and paste it back in. And let's see how many, if we've got 2 adults, and let's say we've got 7 children. Must be a birthday party. And my total to pay is £56. That's not too bad for 9 people at the cinema. Okay, let's go back and do some exam questions. So the cinema ticket calculator combines everything we've learned so far. Input, variables, calculations, output, and working with sequences. This is the type of program that you could actually use. Let's have a look at this exam style question. We need to spot the errors. Why not enter this into Create with Code and see what happens? See what error it returns, and then your aim is to try and correct the errors. Pause the video, open Create with Code. Okay, let's have a look and try and find some errors. This is an important problem-solving aspect of programming, where if you make an error, you can try and spot your own error. So here we've got the line int equals age, bracket input, bracket enter age, bracket. Let's run the program and see what it throws up. Syntax error EOF in multi-line statement on line number 2. So what it's done is it's tried to run the program and it's gone to line 2 and realized that it doesn't work. So let's try and fix a couple of areas. I'll give you 5 seconds just to think about the areas that were the issues first of all. Okay, let's try and fix some areas. First of all, you probably realized that age and int were the wrong way round. Let's see what happens when we run this program. We've got the same error. Okay, what is the error? So I've got 2 brackets here, but I haven't got 2 brackets on the end. Okay, let's try and run the program. And it allows us to enter the age. There's not going to be much of an output to this program because we haven't instructed Python to give an output. But error checking and error finding is a really important skill moving forward. And finally, let's have a look at 5 quiz questions from the main program to check your understanding. Okay, question number 1, which command gets input? Question number 2, why do we use int with brackets or float with brackets? Question number 3, which lines perform the calculations? Question number 4, what data type is price? And question number 5, what happens if input is not converted? Okay, pause your video and we'll go through the answers shortly. Okay, answers. Make sure you've got your sheet of paper, or if you've remembered your answers, let's go through them. Which command gets input? It's the word input with 2 brackets. Why do we use int or float? Well, the reason why we use int or float is because Python defaults to using strings. We need to cast a data type into a whole number or a decimal, which we can then use in a calculation. We can't use strings in calculations. Which lines perform the calculation? It's line 7, line 8, and then line 9, where we've got multiplication and addition. calculations. What data type is price? Price is a float data type because it's got a decimal point in it. And what happens if input is not converted from a string? It means you can't multiply a string. Obviously, you can't multiply letters with numbers. That's not the way maths works. Okay, in the next lesson, we'll use everything we've done so far in programming to make decisions with if statements. Input plus calculations is the foundations for everything we've covered so far, and we're going to move forward, and things and programs are going to get slightly trickier, but I'll walk you through it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.